Hello, hello, everyone. A very warm welcome. You just joined us. Come and join us at the main stage. And this is Singapore Week of Innovation and Technology, or Switch 2025. We are doing Slingshot 2025. Very exciting. It's Asia's most exciting deep tech startup competition. From thousands, and we really mean thousands of applications worldwide, we're down to the top 60 global startups. They have been chosen to pitch here at our domain finals over yesterday and today. So we had two domain finals yesterday, and today the final two. Yesterday we had transformative digital technologies as well as health and biomedical. And today we have startups from two more domains. Who will make it to the top 12 who will pitch again tomorrow at the grand finals? Well, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to our wonderful sponsors and partners for being part of the Slingshot journey. They have so generously donated their time, their advice, from conducting masterclasses and panel discussions to providing prizes for our winners, and of course, joining us as judges and mentors. This year, we are so proud to have more than 200 international judges and mentors, along with 20 corporate and competition partners. We've got plenty of seats, so don't be shy. Find one, just put your little booty down. Now let's talk about the prizes, because this is the 10th year of Switch. We've upped the game. We have more than 2 million Singapore dollars in grant and cash prizes, startup resources, mentor opportunities, and corporate deals to be won. Now, one startup for the health and biomedical domain will win $10,000 in a cash prize sponsored by Halion. Each of our top 12 domain winners, 3 from each domain, will walk away with a $60,000 Startup SG grant, as well as a 4-week intangible asset identification sprint from IPOS International, who is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Intellectual Property Office of Singapore. Now, in addition to the domain prize, the top 3 will walk away with even more prizes. Our second runner-up wins an additional $200,000 Startup SG grant, as well as 6 months rent-free space at JTC Launchpad. Our first runner-up wins an additional $300,000 Startup SG grant, as well as 12-month rent-free space at JTC Launchpad. And of course, the big prize, the grand winner out of our top 60 global startups, will walk away with an additional $400,000 Startup SG grant, as well as 18-month rent-free space at JTC Launchpad. But that's not all. That's not all. In addition, our top 3 will have their 4-week intangible asset identification sprint expanded to an 8-week intangible asset audit and strategy sprint from IPOS International. So first up, we have our third domain, environment, energy, and green technologies. Let me introduce to you our wonderful panel of judges who are all there raring to go. Please welcome, we've got Mr. Anders So, Director of Temasek Foundation. Hey, clap lah. We've got Ms. Anne Miklo, Chief Technical Officer of Angie Factory Asia Pacific. Joining us, we've got Mr. Benny Chung, Director of Louis Dreyfus Company. We've got Dr. Brenda Handler, Director of Technology Management for Breakthrough Energy. We've got Mrs. Cecilia De Cortes, Executive Director of Ecosystem and Events of Hello Tomorrow. Welcoming back, Ms. Claire Pribula, Managing Director and Co-Founder of the Yield Lab Asia Pacific. With us, we've got Ms. Danielle Joseph, Managing Director of Closed Loop Partners. A very warm welcome. Mr. Jeffrey Yeo, Assistant Managing Director of Enterprise Singapore. Mr. Jack Rice, Principal of Ventures of BHP Ventures. Mr. Jinwoo Cheong, Team Leader of SK Energy. We've got Mr. Kamesh Elajoshula, Chief Innovation and Quality Officer of Olam Food Ingredients. We're also proud to have with us Dr. Michael Grisiels, Founder and Managing Partner of Antares Ventures. We've got Mr. Pekka Santasalo, Head of Growth and Ventures of Rio Tinto. And last but not least, Mr. Ronnie J. Palathinkle, Head of Urban Sustainovator of SMU. A big round of applause, judges. Thank you so much for joining us. I do not envy you. It's gonna be hard. So, rules of engagement. All the startups, you've got 3 minutes to pitch. By the end of 3 minutes, I will have to cut them off. And after that, we go to a 4-minute Q&A. And then the judges will have to deliberate and only push through the top 3 to the grand finals. Everybody ready? Can we give our startups waiting in the wings a big round of applause to encourage them? You can do it. Give it your best. Let the pitching begin. All right, first up, please welcome on stage Jonathan Carrier of Ally Energy. Hello, Jonathan. I hope you've had your lunch.
Yeah.
Yes. Calm and centered and grounded. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your 3 minutes start now.
Hello, my name's Jonathan Carrier. I'm the founder and CEO of Ally Energy, and we're solving one of the biggest infrastructure problems facing Southeast Asia and turning it into a significant business opportunity. So the grid is changing around the world, the grid is changing around the world in terms of how power is generated, where it's consumed, but also in terms of the consumer and their interaction. In this region, $1.2 trillion is required immediately to upgrade the grid. Meanwhile, electricity demand is growing at 7%. That's 2 times the global average. Now, Singapore has a resilient grid, but it's going to change. You're moving from 95% generation from gas to renewables, putting solar on the roof of HDBs. That's going to create new challenges and problems. You might have heard of the duck curve and the need for ramp up and the constraints that that brings. Meanwhile, the consumer has a number of challenges around access to cheaper energy, and bills may even go up. So our solution is beautifully simple. It's shared cloud managed energy storage that's installed at HDBs, office blocks, factories, wherever it's needed, like schools. It costs the consumer just $1 per kilowatt hour. That's 100 times cheaper than privately owned battery energy storage. It requires no upfront cost, no installation, no maintenance, and no space. So this is energy storage as a service, and we're not in the battery business, we're in the energy banking business. And that's because we finance and own the batteries, and we charge for service. We charge the grid network for the service, but also the utilities who provide our solution to their consumers. And everybody wins. The consumers, they lower their bills. They're able to bank their energy as easily as they bank their money. The operator defers investment, and the utilities, they lower their costs. So we're not just another battery in a box. In fact, we've completely re-architected our system from the ground up in terms of the hardware and the software to be able to deliver this solution to the grid in terms of voltage control, the AI and machine learning for optimization to create a very unique shared situation. So imagine this from the economics. If we install 800 systems, that's just 8% of the HDBs that will take solar. We'll generate $650 million over 10 years. That's a 22-month payback, 4.4 times IRR, but more importantly, a 17 times efficiency multiplier for everybody in the value chain. So if we can do this in Singapore, imagine what we can do in the region. That's 350 million people, 1 million high-rises, and a $43 billion opportunity. That scales the opportunity 100x. So we're the right team to deliver this with deep automotive and battery experience with 4 million raised to date. And we want to be able to liberate energy in Singapore and ASEAN, and we need your help to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. We just now have 4 minutes with the judges. The timer has been reset. Judges, who would like to go first? I've got a question from Ronnie of Sustainavada.
Hi.
Please.
On your slide earlier, you've mentioned the high rises in the ASEAN region. Are you assuming the same level of urban density as Singapore in the region? How are you calculating that scale-up plans?
Yeah, that's calculated based on a higher urban density, obviously a smaller number of apartments, but also the number of people living in those. You scale that across the population, then you arrive at about 1 million of total units that exist across the region.
And considering some of the countries in the region are not so dense, the cities in the region, how would that change your scale-up plans?
Well, it wouldn't. In fact, it would accelerate it further because of the increased density and the sheer number of concentration that places even greater impact on the local grid just because of the amount of energy that's being consumed and needed in the future.
We've got about 2 minutes 45 left. We've got a question from Dr. Michael of Antares Ventures.
A question on supply chain. Where are you getting your cells from? It seems like it's a refurbished system, is that right?
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on supply chain and logistics involved? Thank you.
Yes, so we repurpose electric vehicle batteries, so our solution is also circular, 60% lower CO2. We source our batteries not as true end-of-life batteries, of which there aren't enough yet. There is a very wide surplus of batteries that exist in the market that are almost new. We've built the deep technology to test those batteries and assign them for reuse as a whole system inside our battery energy storage. So we source them direct from car manufacturers or from the recyclers or from insurance companies. Just in the UK last year, there were 40,000 full plug-in electric vehicles that were prematurely written off due to insurance, for example. So there's a very wide, fertile supply of battery energy storage that we can repurpose into our system. I would just say, though, that by carrying over electric vehicle batteries, we get access to the best technology that's also with the right BMS for the management of those cells, with the right cooling that we carry over in its entirety, which makes it entirely suitable for this type of application where you're placing it in an urban environment. That's because it's no different than having 4, 5, 6 electric vehicles parked alongside the street. The technology is identical. It's proven and tested to the very highest standards and certification.
We've got about a minute 20 left. Jeffrey of Enterprise Singapore has a question.
Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan, for the presentation. Quick question. Which part of the solution is proprietary? How difficult is it to replicate or duplicate what you're doing?
Yeah, so we've got 4 moats. There's a moat around the hardware, which is based around the architecture, which is patented. There's a moat around the software and the control systems, which is also patented and applied for. There's a data moat based around the sourcing of the batteries and all of the testing that we do, which improves degradation and lifetime and therefore economic value and return. And then the fourth is network effects, because the one thing I didn't mention is the more of you deploy, the more you decentralize energy storage. What that allows you to do is allow HDBs or any entity to share and transact energy. So you create network effects. So the final moat is the network moat, because the more you deploy, the more network effects, the more who join the platform, the more value you can create for everybody. You create local spot markets for energy. There may be one HDB that's got more energy surplus, one that needs it. You can allow them to trade and exchange energy. This squeezes efficiency of the system and dramatically increases economic value.
I think that's all the time we have. Thank you very much. Judges, once again, Jonathan
Thank you.
of Ally Energy. Thank you. Next up, please welcome on stage, representing Aruna Revolution, Rashmi Prakesh. Hi, Rashmi.
Hi.
How are you? Lovely
I'm doing-
red.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, ready.
Yeah.
3 minutes starts now.
As a biomedical engineer, I was horrified to see that the products we're using for our health are killing us and the planet. Over 600 billion products. Oh, sorry, our slides are not advancing. Oh. Am I supposed to be pointing somewhere? Sorry.
Click that.
Okay, thank you.
And we're going to reset the clock for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are you now ready? Deep breath. That was the moment.
Yeah,
Reset
yeah.
yourself.
It's the life of a startup founder, right?
I love it. 3 minutes starts.
Okay.
now.
As a biomedical engineer, I was horrified to see that the products we're using for our health are harming us and the planet. Over 600 billion healthcare products get thrown out every single year. We use them for a few hours, but they sit in landfills for over 500 years, and they pollute our body with carcinogens. This is a material problem. Even organic cotton has been proven to contain these toxins. That's why we decided that it was time for a revolution. Aruna is a fiber tech platform that's compostable, toxin-free, and high performance, made entirely out of agricultural waste. Our proprietary process transforms crop residue, so stems, leaves after harvest, into soft and clean fibers, which supports farmers, reduces emissions, and prevents waste from ending up in landfills. We're feedstock flexible, so we can use corn, canola, soy, banana, pineapples, enabling a low-cost scalability within a global supply chain. And we're functional, 300% more absorbent, truly compostable, limitless applications, and at scale, we're the lowest cost in terms of manufacturing for fibers. And because of this, we can revolutionize entire verticals. We have interest from organizations like Kimberly-Clark, L'Oreal, and this is because there's a demand from governments and a demand from consumers to change this and to have a plastic ban. So this is a $220 billion industry that's ripe for disruption, and we're already in the market starting to capture it. We've launched in with menstrual products to prove the value of Aruna fibers and build brand equity, and behind the scenes, we've initiated licensing conversations so that in the future, Aruna can be the trusted technology for clean health. We have a highly talented and skilled and ambitious team that's proven market demand by creating $750,000 in sales within the first 6 months of launch, selling our pads into hospitals, airports, universities, and we have interest from over 9 verticals, including Kimberly-Clark for Huggies. And without a single cent spent in marketing, we've sold into Canada, Singapore, Monaco. We actually got 12% of our sales from Singapore, which is why I'm excited to be here today. And we've also validated our technology through third-party HAD certifications and have protected our IP internationally. We have advisors with a cumulative of over 100 years of experience in this industry, and while we have initially hit 750 this year, we could have generated more if we had more ambitious inventory planning. We're excited to use that demand to scale globally through licensing and category expansion, and have an impact on the people and the planet. We're raising 2.5 to get into fiber partnerships, hire our team, and to have targeted marketing. Aruna is a promise for health, for you, for your partners, for your children, for the planet. Thank you for your time. I hope you join our revolution.
Thank you, Rashmi. Okay, good job.
Thank you.
With the judges, the time is start now. Judges, we have a question. Question from Dr. Michael from Antares Ventures.
Hi.
Hi, Rashmi. Exciting to hear that you want to launch your product in Asia. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your go-to-market plans? How are you thinking about addressing the Asian markets and go-to-market?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're already seeing demand from individuals reaching out. So there's opportunities to white label our products into organizations that already have a market reach. So we can start getting into the powered by Aruna fibers already by targeting those companies and working with them. So locally, there's a company called Blood, and there's companies in India and other countries as well. So we'd love to do that, and we'd love to scale into Asia through that.
Yeah. Question from Kamesh of Olam Food Ingredients, please.
So what makes your tech so unique that you're able to use pretty much any material? And what will be the fallout of this? So you use this material, create fibers. Will you have a lot of waste that comes out, which is again environmentally not so friendly?
I love this question, so thank you for asking it. So what makes our fibers so unique is, one, because we're feedstock flexible. So we've put in a huge amount of time, 2 to 3 years in R&D, just figuring out this process. And so because of that, we have IP in pre-processing, we have IP in the fiber extraction process, and our fiber extraction process is a combination of mechanical and chemical processing. So the materials that come out of the processing are largely on the chemical side of things, but with our chemicals, we can reuse the chemicals 18 times, and then what's left over is the pectin, the lignin, the hemicellulose, everything else we strip away because what we're using is the cellulose fibers, and so that we can actually return as fertilizer. So we've done some pilots, and so one thing that I wanted to create is not just a sustainable product and material, but a sustainable process as well. So yeah, thank you.
We've got about 2 minutes. We've got a question here from Pekka of Rio Tinto.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Bit of a greedy question, but could you walk me through a little bit more about the upstream supply chain, so the feedstock availability, particularly as you scale up, and what needs to happen in the processing value chain, and who wears that capital?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. I like that too. So we're working with farmers directly. So what happens right now, and we're actually solving a problem for the farmers, because after they harvest their material, typically what they used to be able to do is till the material back into the soil, but they've doubled their yield in a specific square area, so they have doubled the material, and when they try to till it back into the soil, it doesn't allow for planting for next year because it doesn't break down fast enough. And so farmers are actively removing it and burning it. And so they're looking for ways to get rid of it, and so we're coming in and taking that material from them. In some cases, they're giving it to us for free. Some cases, they're paying for it because it's cheaper than paying it to get rid of it in other ways. And in some places, we're paying for it too. So that material we're able to take into our process and put it in. But still, compared to all the other materials, so the cheapest material on the market is wood pulp right now. If you think about the operational costs associated with that, which includes land acquisition, all of the cutting down the trees, everything associated with that, we're already harvesting this material, and so ultimately our fibers will be cheaper at scale because our operational costs are much lower too.
We've got 30 seconds left. Only one for a quick one. Cecilia of Hello Tomorrow. Really quick one.
Yeah, maybe. So you depend on agricultural waste, which can vary lots based on sources and seasonality. How do you ensure consistency and quality as you scale across regions?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so what we've seen with agricultural waste is there's a specific range that they all tend to have when it comes to cellulosic content. Before, when I started this, I started with banana peels, which has a completely different cellulosic content. So we've picked agricultural waste because they're within that specific range. And so how we're ensuring consistency, firstly, we have a quality system in process, but also we have a pre-processing process that allows us to make sure that we are able to have consistency afterwards as well.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you. Rashmi of Aruna Revolution, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, representing Evolve, we've got QT Park. Hello.
Hello.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Hasita, your time starts now.
Hello, everyone. I'm QT Park, CEO of Avev. Let me introduce you our AI robotic smart farm, growing premium crops like Korean strawberry, ginseng, wasabi, are now operating in multiple countries. Smart farm technology is key to solving global food security. Agriculture uses about 70% of fresh water, and unpredictable weather destroys 40% of global crops annually, and about 70% of farmers are over 55. With our iGrid system, we can solve these issues. We can reduce water usage by 90%, and we can increase yield by 300%, and we can reduce labor costs by 50%. It starts with autonomous robots collecting image data, and our AI platform, Farm Station, analyzes crop size, weight, color, and detect pest or disease in real time. With that data, our iGrid system remotely optimizes temperature, humidity, CO2, pH, and EC through our digital twin system. And with this system, we can control every farm in global directly from our headquarters. Our modular hardware is standardized and energy efficient. And this enables us to scale faster in global market. This is what makes Avev unique. iGrid system enables global expansion without on-site farming experts. Even large corporates still rely on local specialists, and this limits their scalability. And with iGrid system, yield can be increased 300%, labor costs drop by 50%, and water use by 90%. And this perfectly aligns with ESG and SDG goals. And we have already proven our global scalability. 250 smart farms installed, 600 million data points collected, and 78 patents secured. And this is the largest smart farm in Korea we are building right now. And we also built Korean ginseng and Korean strawberry and verified everything in Vietnam market, and also cannabis smart farm in Thailand, and leafy vegetables in Middle East. And also we built for Hyundai and Lotte, and many others. And we won. We were selected as Forbes 30 under 30, and we were first in grand final in Startup World Cup and many ministerial awards. And this market is growing very fast in CAGR of 19.6. And we secured 7 billion SGD, and we are targeting 20 million SGD in revenue next year. And we are going to make the headquarters in Singapore. And this is our team. We were established on 2019, and 20 members are doing together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kyote. We now have 4 minutes with the judges. The clock is ticking. Judges, who would like to go first with a question? We've got a question from Benny of Louis Dreyfus.
Kyote, thank you so much for the presentation. You had a slide about the value proposition. Given that you have installed this in 250 farms, can you tell us specifically what are some of the improved outcomes for the farms in using your solution?
So normally, many big smart farms still relies on local specialists. They have to stay on the site to grow and monitor all the crop status, and then decide what to do. Like, for example, like increase the temperature or like drop the humidity. But with our AI robot, it goes around autonomously all around the farm, and it detects everything, and we can optimize all the environment. So we can reduce labor costs, and we can increase the harvest amount, so we can increase the profit of the smart farm.
I do believe we have a question from Kamesh of Olam Food Ingredients. Please.
Yeah, so my question is, who is your target customer, and what kind of capex are you expecting them to start out with to be able to create these kind of farms and leverage your technology?
So not only in Korea, first we verified our profit ROI, our Korean strawberry and ginseng smart farm in Korea. And right now we built SPC or like PFV in Vietnam and Thailand. And we are targeting to expand on main city around Southeast Asia, like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, also in Singapore. Yeah.
We've got about 2 minutes left on the clock. Judges, do we have a question? I believe a question from Danielle from Closed Loop Partners, please.
Hi, thanks so much for the presentation. One of the challenges that I've seen in smart agricultural systems is actually the picking technology, especially around fragile crops. And so I'm curious if you could expand a little bit more on the technology that you're using to automatically pick the strawberries.
So right now, our robot is targeting on monitoring the crop status. So it takes video and image on like many angles, and with our AI system, it analyze the size, length, width, and if there pest or disease. Right now, the reason why we are targeting Southeast Asia is that the labor cost is good. So right now we are on R&D stage for picking and like making everything automatic. But right now we are focusing on the early stage. Yeah.
We've got about minute 10 left. Dr. Brenda, Breakthrough Energy, your question.
Yes, thank you. Fantastic presentation. Can you talk about the value to your customers, either in reduced use of input costs or increased production?
So our ROI for our smart farm module is about 30%. So if we operate about 3 or 4 years, investors can return their capex investment. So we are contacting with many customers right now for our SPC in Southeast Asia right now, and with our AI robot system, we can make more profitable than our competitors. Yes, thank you.
We've got about 25 seconds left. Time for a quick one. Jack of BHP Ventures, really quick.
Thank you, super quick. Yeah, an emotional question as a farmer's son. Obviously, autonomizing farms removes quite a lot of labor and wages from communities. What is your approach on potentially upskilling those that you're putting out?
So right now, on the total labor cost, the monitoring the crops and like analyzing the crops, it takes a lot of cost. But if you miss that crops, then you have to remove all the crops. That costs a lot. So we target on that, and after we are going to make everything automatic. Yeah.
Fortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Once again, thank you, Kyote.
Thank you.
Kyote of Aval, thank you. And next to represent Ayrton Energy, please welcome Natasha Kostanuk. Got a fan there. Woo!
Thank you.
Natasha, are you ready?
I am.
You've got this. Give you your best. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Natasha Kostanek, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ayrton Energy, and we're here making hydrogen storage and transportation simple. Most people are very focused on hydrogen production and hydrogen end use, but the bottleneck to broad hydrogen adoption is storage and transportation, which accounts for up to 70% of the total cost of hydrogen. Hydrogen is hard to store and manage because it requires very high pressures or very cold temperatures. These require specialized equipment and complex logistics that increase the costs. Our LOHC, or liquid organic hydrogen carrier, enables hydrogen to be stored and managed as a room temperature, room pressure liquid that can reuse existing liquid fuel infrastructure for a lower cost. Our technology works by taking hydrogen gas and chemically binding it to a carrier oil. When bound to the carrier oil, it's just like diesel. Anywhere you can put diesel, we can put hydrogen. Tanks, trucks, pipelines, and rail cars. And when you're ready to use the hydrogen again, we do the reverse reaction, and we chemically remove the hydrogen from the carrier oil and return and recycle the carrier oil over and over. Traditional LOHC uses very high pressure, high temperature chemical plant processes. Ayrton has developed a process that uses the same process, but it changed it to be electrically driven, providing many advantages that enable safer, simpler operations with lower costs. Our modular system not only solves the full value chain of hydrogen, because we can aggregate small hydrogen production sites, including stranded hydrogen, and we can also distribute to small end use for full hub and spoke operations. We started Ayrton by building early prototypes and establishing the base of our IP portfolio with 3 patent families. Last year, we deployed our first larger scale prototype in Alberta and tested with ATCO. They're now scaling up this system to 30 kilograms per day to be field tested in the islands of Hawaii, and we'll then continue to scale up to a ton per day deployment, and we're actively discussing these deployments with multiple international parties. Our target markets include commercial refueling to enable hydrogen ecosystems at ports and warehouses, as well as focus on industrial applications, and including SAF and green ammonia. And our vision is enabling hydrogen to be produced where it's the lowest cost and brought to where it's needed. We have secured key partnerships with industry leaders, validating our technology with real-world pilots. We are supported by various grant partners, including Temasek Foundation, and last year closed $6.8 million in fundraising in our seed round to accelerate commercialization. Our team is strong. I'm a professional engineer with over 20 years of experience in the energy service industry, and my co-founder and CTO, Brandy, is a PhD chemist. We have 19 other people on our team with deep industry experience. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to answering all of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. 4 minutes now with the judges.
Sounds great.
Okay, here we go. We've got a question already from Dr. Brendo, Breakthrough Energy, please.
Great presentation. Thank you so much. My question is around cost. How does the cost of your delivered hydrogen compare to other LOHCs on the market, also other carriers like methanol or ammonia?
Yeah, so depending on the scenario that we're looking at and how far you're transporting it, we can be up to 50% lower cost than traditional other uses of hydrogen and hydrogen storage technologies.
Do we have another question from the judges? We have from Pekka of Rio Tinto, please.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Could you give more detail around how you're thinking about the market opportunity? It's ostensibly the green hydrogen industry has kind of struggled to get off the ground, so and you're kind of seems like a little bit at the mercy of that. So could you walk us through that market opportunity, how you see that evolving?
Yeah, so we are agnostic to the hydrogen source. We just kind of store and unstore the hydrogen molecule itself. And so while we're waiting for the green hydrogen partners to develop and grow into those low-cost areas where they can leverage low-cost energy to produce hydrogen, we've been focused on today's hydrogen producers that are already producing hydrogen and have stranded hydrogen production that they want to use in other parts of their operations. That's key to our pilot in Hawaii, where they're already producing 2 tons a day of hydrogen that's not fully utilized, and other partnerships that we're talking to today, it's the same thing where they're having stranded hydrogen.
got 2.5 minutes left. We've got a question from Benny of Louis Dreyfus.
Natasha, thank you so much for your question, your presentation. I want to build on the question about cost. You spoke about it being potentially 15% cheaper than existing approaches. Is that where you currently are at now? Or is that at some point in the future you get to being 15% cheaper? And if it's the latter case, what sort of milestones will you need to achieve to get to that point?
Great question. To be very clear, it's 50% cheaper. And we're basically going to be that at full commercial scale. So some of the key milestones that we'll need to get there would be to build up our manufacturing partnerships that we're developing worldwide and being able to get our costs down. Many of our components, our systems are very similar to electrolyzers. And so we're able to leverage the same cost savings that we've seen in the electrolyzer market, as all of those components are very similar to us, and we're leveraging the same partnerships and the same vendors as they are. So as those volumes grow higher, we can capitalize on the same cost savings as well.
Got about minute 30 left. We've got a question now from Ronnie of Sustainavator.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. In terms of your commercialization for the region and the interest, the pipeline in the region, could you share what it looks like?
Yeah, so we're actively building partnerships here, both for customers and for vendors. For example, we had some manufacturing done with our system with a Taiwanese partner recently, and we've been having meetings in the region with multiple large Asian conglomerate companies that have green energy divisions that are already producing hydrogen today at smaller volumes and plan to scale that up, but need a solution to be able to take those low-cost hydrogen production from some of the regions, such as Australia and New Zealand, and bring it into Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Singapore, Japan, etc. And so those are the customers that we're talking to today to kind of establish ourselves. And again, focusing on the people who have production today and have the need to be able to move it to where they need it.
30 seconds left, only time for a quick one. Judges to have a really, really quick one. Yes, Dr. Brenda, Breakthrough Energy. Really, really quick.
All right, really quick. Can you talk about round-trip efficiency?
Yeah, so we're up to 70% round-trip efficient because our round-trip efficiency both for storage and unstorage. I guess I'm out of time, so thank you.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Once again, Natasha.
Thank you.
Ayrton.
Thank you.
All right, on to our next startup. Please welcome on stage Handu for Buyo Solutions. Hello, Handu. So bright and cheery, I love that.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
3 minutes starts now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Hạnh Do, co-founder and CEO of Bio. Every day, we consume a lot of plastic bottles, but we know that each bottle contains 240,000 nanoplastics. And only 10% of all these bottles can be recycled. 90% will stay in the environment for 500 years. Bio offers a pioneering technology to transform agricultural biowaste into a new biomaterial to replace plastics. This technology is breakthrough compared to the previous generation biomaterial in the market because first, we don't use any starch nor food crop as a raw material. Instead, we utilize discarded biowaste and offer a totally circular solution. Secondly, we don't require any industrial composting condition like PLA, and it can break down naturally in the environment. Third, it doesn't contain any microplastic and is an ideal solution for food contact and children products. Fourth, it can save 40 to 50% carbon footprint compared to regular plastics. And last but not least, it offers strong performance comparable to regular plastics and is a drop-in solution for existing plastic manufacturing system. With this technology, we have developed the first cake cap in the world from brewery waste for Budweiser, and we won the top prize for sustainable packaging at the World Beverage Innovation Awards in Europe last month. Market opportunity is unlimited. It can be applied to a wide range of industry, from consumer goods to industrial products, to medical, cosmetics, or even textile. We also offer a strong operational capability at 100 tons per month in Vietnam. As a beholder of core technology, we can offer both finished products to brands and also resin materials to packaging companies. Our customer portfolio spans across global markets and includes the world top brands like AB InBev or IKEA. The next frontier will be biomed. We are working on an wound dressing product which is 100% bio-based biocompatible, biodegradable, and antibacterial without any antibiotics. Our technology has received numerous awards and recognition from USA, Europe, Singapore, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and many other corporates. The top assets of our company is a team of scientists with dedication and passion in innovation and sustainability. Going forward, we look forward to have 3 patents, triple our capacity to 300 tons per month, and hit 1 million revenue target by next year. We are here today to look for commercial partners to help us to scale up and bring our technology to the global market. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hando.
Thank you.
All right, 4 minutes with the judges, and the time starts now. Judges, I do believe we have Cecilia from Hello Tomorrow with a question, please.
Thank you so much for this very exciting presentation. So my question is around scalability. What's your current cost structure, and how does it compare to fossil fuel plastics and other alternative bioplastics?
Mm-hmm.
And what's your path to get to cost parity with these solutions if you're not already there?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question. Yes, that's a very important question for commercialization. So right now, compared to other biomaterial solutions in the market, our cost is less than 50% compared to PHA, lower than PLA, and it offers more compelling advantages compared to the first generation technologies. Compared to regular fossil fuel-based plastics, it's about between 30 to 50% higher in cost. But with scaling up, we hope that we can drive down the cost. And we are also working with brands with global scale like IKEA and AB InBev. So certainly, I think we have a journey to work with them also to scale up and bring down the cost further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got a question now from Kamesh of Olam Food Ingredients.
Yeah, excellent presentation. So 2 questions. One is your raw material feedstock. Are you fairly agnostic on what can be used to produce this? And second, are there any disadvantages of what your final product has relative to conventional plastics? Is there some lack in performance or any challenge?
Right, thank you. Regarding the first question, we can handle multiple sources of bio-waste, for example, brewery waste, soybean waste, coffee husk, rice husk, cocoa husk, so you name it. Mostly the plant-based waste that we take from the agricultural processing company. Secondly, with regard to the limitation in terms of performance, you are right. I think that's also a common limitation for many bio-based materials. But for our material, we have overcome a lot of technical challenges. And the bio-based cake cap that I just showed, we made for AB InBev, it's already comparable in terms of performance to regular HDPE. So I think it's a continuous journey. We will move up the learning curve and try to catch up and match up the property performance compared to the fossil fuel-based material. Thank you.
1 minute 40 left. A question from Danielle of Closed Loop Partners, please.
Thanks so much again for the presentation. Curious if you could dive actually a little bit deeper into the performance properties. How does it perform against oleophobic, hydrophobic, longevity factors?
I will just take the cake cap as an example. We tested and it showed a very strong performance at a wide range of temperature between -22 to 50 degrees. So in terms of tensile strength, it's comparable to HDPE. In terms of barrier to oxygen, actually it's one of the advantages of the material is breathability. So we use this mainly for like fruit and fresh produce packaging. It can help the products to breathe and to extend the shelf life. So whether you see it as a disadvantage or advantage, it depends on the application. We just need to pick the right application for it.
45 seconds left for one quick question. We got a question from Dr. Brenda of Breakthrough Energy.
All right, thank you. Great presentation. Can you talk about what in your IP portfolio is unique? What is your IP moat?
Currently, we have 2 IP, and we aim to obtain the 3rd IP next year. So we have IP in both material science technology, and also we have another IP in biofermentation technology. So the wound dressing product that I mentioned in one of the slides is a biofermentation technology. So under one platform, we have actually 2 technology tracks.
I don't think we have any more time. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Handu
Thank you.
of BioSolutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, please welcome on stage Arvind Chandaka of Carnot Fleet. Good afternoon, Arvind.
How are you?
All rested?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, 3 minutes to impress the judges. Your time starts now.
Great. So, hello everybody. We are Carno Fleet. We're a 4-year-old startup headquartered in Singapore with most of our R&D warehousing and people in South Korea, and we're primarily targeting Asian markets. And we essentially operate in this space called the cold chain, which is just another word for saying temperature-controlled supply chain for the safe and proper logistics of perishable goods, such as food and pharma and everything in between. And essentially the problem we're trying to solve is that loss rates are extremely high. In fact, global loss rates are around 24%. And in some parts in Asia, it can balloon up to even 40 or 50%. And we have to solve two problems in order to tackle this. Loss that occurs due to a lack of cold chain implementation and operation, and loss that occurs due to human error. And the primary driver behind this is really around cost and affordability. To keep in mind, to implement even the simplest means of cold chain is extremely expensive for a lot of customers. And so we built this form of plug-and-play cold chain, which is meant to empower businesses with instant, safe, and affordable means of cold chain. We do this by making cuts across CapEx, OpEx, and TCO, and building cuts across CapEx, OpEx, and TCO, and by augmenting existing fleets and assets and spaces into cold chain capable spaces using our hardware and software. At the same time, we're actually able to deploy them faster due to our modularized technology. So the key facet behind all of this is really our solid-state thermoelectric heat pump. And it's really built around this same concept of affordability. Not only is it competitive to the cheapest disposable options available in the market, it's actually even cheaper than the comparative compressor-based cooling systems as well. At the same time, these are all IoT-based solutions. And so we are collecting a lot of great lightweight data that of course we use for monitoring, but also we use to help create value-added services for our customers. So I mentioned we're in 2 different countries already. We're in actually 7 total. So we're also in Hong Kong, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and we're entering India as well. We have a lot of great enterprise logos across Asia, which is why we're sitting at 4.8 million contracted revenue. Million in contracted revenue, and have raised already 6.2 million VC funding and continuing to grow. We have a great team, 13 strong, across having multiple founders and entrepreneurs on the team, industry experts in engineering in LG and Samsung, as well as great graduates from all around the world from prestigious universities. And given that we are a green technology, we do focus on deploying in order to help emissions at the end of the day. So we do make cuts across Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 emissions, as well as direct emissions. So we are fundraising. So if you want to chat later, would love to have that.
Thank you, Arvind. Arvind, don't go away. We're going to chat right now with the judges first. 4 minutes Q&A. We're going to kick off with Benny of Louis Dreyfus.
Arvind, thank you so much for the presentation. I have a question about your IP mode. What exactly does the company sit on, and what makes you unique?
Yep, so we have 23 patents. There are family of patents around a variety of things, but primarily a lot of it is on the hardware side, because these thermoelectric heat pumps are essentially applied in different kinds of modalities in order to create different kinds of, you can call them containers or boxes, et cetera, to provide those cold chain capabilities. So in the smaller sense, on a packaging lens, you would apply it to maybe something like a 20-liter container that we have. And on the larger lens, we might have something like a dry vehicle where we take the hinges off the door and add basically a door that we provide with heat pumps embedded inside, which creates a cooling, elegant effect inside while pushing hot ambient air out. So it's usually some form related to that family of thermoelectric cooling, but we have about 23 of those right now.
Got about 3 minutes left. Judges, do we have another question? I think Claire of the Yield Lab has a question.
Hi.
Claire.
Hi, great presentation. How are you integrating or planning to integrate into existing supply chain platforms?
So the big thing is we want to make sure we augment to existing fleets, right? So generally there's 2 areas we want to focus on. Those who are trying to enter the cold chain or those who are already incumbents. For those who are trying to enter, they usually have fleets or these kinds of vehicles and spaces in place, and we want to basically add on by providing our units to them in some way, shape, or form. I mentioned some of the more packaging focused units, and we have larger units that take up entire container spaces as well. For those who are trying to essentially optimize the cold chain, it's really all about their cost structure, because it is extremely expensive for a lot of these players that I showed in the logo screen before. in order to continue their business in the cold chain. So by adding these on, we're able to actually cut down on the cost that they would have been spending for whatever their traditional cold chain technology basically was. That would be the other way.
Got a question now from Ronnie of Sustainavator.
Hi. You mentioned some impressive sales numbers.
Thank you.
How much of that is recurring? And in your sales team, how are you there's quite some engineering talent I can see. What's the sales talent like?
So, great. So first question, all of it is recurring. So the way it works is it's a lease model. So all of our units, we generally have like a 24 to 36 month contract, and you pay us a monthly capped fee. And as part of that, we provide all of the necessary equipment. And that still fits it within our kind of COGS bucket. So we actually make 50% margin on pretty much all of our products on just the hardware. And then on our sales team, it's a combination of myself, my co-founder, and then one of our other employees who's a founder we actually poached from another company. We kind of merged, as well as our head of ops. So we're all pitching in and creating that off the sales. So it's just the four of us.
Got about a minute left. We have a question from Anders of Temasek Foundation.
Hi, thanks for your sharing. Could you just share a bit more your international competition? I didn't really catch that from the presentation.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. There's the cheapest disposable alternatives. So a great way to look at it is something like a styrofoam box, where you'd normally put in like ice gel packs and tape it up. And this is how a lot of things are actually done in certain regions like Manila, as an example. We actually did something in Makati Medical where we got to see that. So that would be one kind of thing we're looking at. In those cases, you're still throwing away anywhere from $3 to $4 per delivery, which is still a lot. And then on the flip side, if you're looking at it from more of a compressor-based model, then you're usually looking at something large and in volume. Trucks are the most common thing for that. Usually you're taking a truck and retrofitting it, so the upfront cost is anywhere from $8,000 to $25,000, and then you have an additional OpEx spend because of things like maintenance, battery, all these other fuel usage, etc. So what we essentially do is add on to that in order to use our models essentially to help cut those kinds of prices that you would normally pay otherwise.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again to Arvin of Carnot Fleet. We move on now to startup number 7. Please welcome on stage Philip Han of Anodyne. Hello, Philip.
Hi.
All right. Deep breath. 3 minutes starts now.
So, what do you think of when you think of climate change? You think about CO2 emissions. You think about fossil oil and gas, city-sized factories turning it into chemicals and fuels based off 100 years old technology. And you're probably thinking, damn, can we even afford to get rid of that? But what if I told you that sustainability could be profitable instead? What if I told you that there's a technology that creates a business model for CO2 and that bridges the gap between CO2 emissions and those industries in desperate need for non-fossil resource alternatives? To accomplish that, we at Anodyne developed the electric engine for the chemical industry. We develop non-thermal plasma catalysis reactors, reactors that utilize a highly efficient cold plasma to turn CO2 into a variety of chemicals and fuels like methanol, ethylene, at or even below the price of current fossil alternatives. The key to that is Ina Ceramics, our patented high-tech ceramics material that we use as electrode and also as catalyst. It allows us to drastically reduce the amount of energy required to ignite the plasma, and it also increases CO2 conversion and output selectivity. But we don't have to scale our reactors in size. Instead, we pursue a modular, container-based scaling approach that allows us to mass produce a technology like a car and not like a factory, making it the ideal, highly scalable solution for point source valorization, biogas, and even for PFAS abatement in the semiconductor industry. What does that unlock? Well, sustainable resources below fossil prices, decentralized valorization of CO2 instead of pipelines, global deployment in months instead of years. A sustainable, circular carbon economy is finally without the compromise. Our technology is validated, ready to scale, and we have first paying customers on board. Together with them, we'll deploy the first pilot solutions over the next 12 months, and those will be closely followed by the fully scaled container solution by 2027, maybe 28. All of that is obviously made possible by a great team featuring experts in plasma science, catalysis, material science and engineering. And on top of that, we are supported by a group of more than 20 industrial and academic partners. So if you are also sick of just paying to fight the symptoms of climate change, but would rather be part of a sustainable and actually profitable solution, join us and become a plasma pioneer with Inadyne. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Okay, 4 minutes with the judges, and the time starts now. We're going to question from Pekka of Rio Tinto, please.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Could you elaborate more on the cost competitiveness, particularly against fossil fuels? What conditions need to be true, including from the capture part of the carbon all the way to deliver product? What needs to be true for that to compete and be lower cost than fossil fuels?
So the competitiveness that we calculate, we usually use just standard market prices and both of electricity and also of the input resources. But especially if you go to point sources where the CO2 is already ready available, where you already get a low-cost hydrogen carrier like methane at a biogas plant, you can get way below that. And the interesting thing about the technology is that our startup and shutdown times of the reactors, they are within seconds. So if you go towards sustainable energy, then you can even do some sort of electricity arbitrage and use low cost when sustainable electricity is available, and then just turn down some of the reactors to then adjust when the costs are rising.
We've got about 2 minutes 45 left. A question from Danielle of Closed Loop Partners, please.
Thanks so much again. Curious if you can talk a little bit more about, you said 2027 you were going to be commercial. What's happening between now and then in order to get to that point?
So basically, one of the product market fits that we are talking about kind of found us. So we were approached by partners from the semiconductor industry asking for a solution to abate PFAS, specifically CF4, in the semiconductor industry. We're working on a commercial solution for that already right now for the next 12 months. And then the container solution is then really the highly scaled solution for synthesis, and that will then come about a year later, just because of the engineering effort that you have to put into that.
Got about 2 minutes left. Do we have a question, judges? We've got a question from Dr. Brenda of Breakthrough Energy, please.
All right. Thank you. Great presentation. Can you talk about, as you talk about flue gas, what poisons your catalyst?
Actually, not much. We are pretty resistant, for example, against sulfur because we have so many electrons in the plasma that the sulfur doesn't really connect to the surface. We also are very resistant to, for example, when we abate CF4, we get a lot of HF, and that doesn't really phase our electrodes. So to be honest, we haven't seen so much that really phases our catalysts or our electrodes so far.
Got about minute 20 left. I think Jeffrey of Enterprise Singapore, you have a question?
Just trying to understand what's the business model. What's your go-to-market, right?
Yeah, so the business model is that in the beginning, obviously, we really build the first containers and then sell them to the partners. In the long run, we want to build the technology in a way that basically any EPC on the planet can just use the periphery. What makes the money for us is actually the electrodes, the catalysts, so the consumables, because there we have like all the IP. There we have also the means of mass producing that as a startup, and so we can use those consumables to really ramp up recurring revenues just by the more containers are in the field.
About 30 seconds left for a really quick question. Do we have one? We've got one from...
Hi, thanks for the presentation. Could you share more about the carbon abatement potential? Because plasma itself is actually high energy intensity, so...
It's actually not. The thing is, if you have cold plasma, then the energy intensity is actually much lower, because in our case, only electrons, but not the heavy molecules are excited. And because of that, you are way below the other common technologies
so
to do that.
From an LCA perspective, end to end, how much is the abatement percentage?
It's about 7 kilowatt hours per kilogram of output.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you, Philip, once again for Inadyne. Next up, our startup is called Matt Next, and we've got Dr. Jonathan Bean. Hello, Dr. Bean.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Good. 3 minutes starts now.
50% of all of the materials that we use on a day-to-day basis are considered to be critical. And this means that any challenges associated with geopolitical or supply chain insecurities will stop the supply of these materials, stopping factories, losing jobs, and halting economic growth. This is further compounded by the fact that it costs hundreds of millions and multi-decades to invent completely new alternatives. And so we have a huge problem in our sort of global world. What MatNext is doing is building an end-to-end design platform, meaning that we can invent new materials super rapidly, more quickly than you could have ever done before, and using latest techniques in machine learning, inventing materials such as rare earth-free magnetics, new semiconductors, superconducting materials, and cooling for data center applications. What makes us unique is that we are building a reinforcement learning plus generative AI platform comprised with one of the biggest proprietary data sets in the world of material properties, which means we have the most accurate foundation models, which means our predictions of materials that we make through this platform are significantly more accurate than anyone else. This has resulted in massive cost reductions associated with the materials that we've created, a huge performance between the experimental and predictions, and a reduction in rare earth materials used in magnetics. Just to give you an idea of how we work on our business model, customers come to us, they give us what's called their design requirements, we turn that design requirements into new materials, we also then license those materials into end manufacturing and then sell the materials directly to our customers. And to just give you an idea, we have successfully done this for the rare earth magnetic space, and in only 3 months we found a completely new rare earth-free magnetic material. This is not just a sort of science experiment, like we are making real materials in the lab, an example shown here, with incredible high accuracy from prediction and reality. We have one of the best teams in the world looking at this. We've published over 1,500 papers combined. We have top university scientists from places like NUS, A-Star, Oxford, Cambridge, Princeton, and also Stanford. We're also comprised of a leading industry panel, including the ex-head of materials at BP, Sheetal Handa, Andreas Reimann, who is also ex-BSF, amongst a collection of top professors and academics in the field. We have secured something like $2 million of revenue from contracts and R&D projects, $14 million of investment in the form of equity, and $70 million of LOIs from very, very large companies. And it's our view that we're going to remove the constraints of materials using AI. Thank you.
Testing. Thank you very much. Are you ready? 4 minutes with the judges. Let's go, judges. We've got a question already from Danielle of Closed Loop Partners.
Thanks so much again. You mentioned something that was amazing to hear, a proprietary data set on which you're building this. I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit more about where that proprietary data is coming from.
So we have done a partnership with a company called Viridian, and this is one of the largest French data center companies. And so we use their resource to grind through millions of different sort of chemical combinations of materials. And so this is sort of like synthetic data, which we then use to basically turn into machine learning models. And then we have a platform in University of Sheffield where we actually do experiments and put that experimental data back into the data set. So we have this kind of reinforcement process.
Good question now from Jack from BHP Ventures. Jack.
Hi, mate. Thanks. I love this stuff. Really well done. Can you talk me a bit through how you would differentiate and be better than, for instance, in Azure Quantum Elements? What's the differentiation there? And also how you are tailoring the work you're doing to quite bespoke problems in the industry. Thanks, mate.
Yes, so what we've done is build what we call the synthesis engine, which basically is going beyond materials discovery and into how you actually make materials. And so this means that we can actually give experimentalists phase diagrams and processing routes, which means that they're not messing around with like, oh, we need to anneal at this temperature, we need to cook the materials at this kind of different pressure. And so this means that you get to much more accurate predictions significantly faster. So this is our core sort of innovation on IP.
Got about 2.5 minutes left for Ronnie of Urban Sustainavator, please.
Great presentation, Jonathan. In terms of business model, could you share how are you commercializing this?
So usually what we do is take an upfront payment which covers the initial R&D, and then we find licensing manufacturing partners that we give the recipe to. So maybe the way to think about this is like we're the NVIDIA layer, so we design the material, and then we find a partner company like the TSMC that actually manufactures it, and we outsource the manufacturing to them.
Got about minute 45. Now a question from Kamesh of Olam Food Ingredients.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Would you be able to use your technology to predict and create new materials? Say if somebody wanted specific properties, would you be able to use your AI and say, hey, this is the way to get it?
Exactly right. So part of the amazing technology we've built is it's called inverse design, which means that you can specify the properties and it will tell you what material to make and how to make that material.
We've got about a minute left. Do we have any more questions? I think we got a question from Dr. Brenda of Breakthrough Energy.
Yeah, thank you. Great presentation. Really exciting. You talked a lot about magnets. Are there other classes of materials that you believe you could innovate on?
So we are developing materials across a wide range, but also specifically to your question, we're looking at new superconducting materials for quantum applications. So one big challenge that quantum computing companies have is that they would like to have a higher TC for conventional superconductors, and we're also investigating this problem.
We still got 40 seconds. Final question from Pekka of Rio Tinto.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. There are analogous industries like, for example, synthetic biology that have struggled a little bit maybe to get off the ground by being kind of more solutions looking for a problem. How do you avoid that trap?
So before we engage with any customer or any kind of project, we ensure there's a customer requirement at the very start. And that means that we know exactly what we need to do to deliver against that requirement. And we can also predict like the unit economics before we even start these projects. So, you know, the platform is not just this prediction engine. We also say, okay, where are those materials coming from? Are they critical? Like, are there certain jurisdictions? And so all of these questions are answered before we actually engage in a project.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again, Dr. Bean of Matnex. Alrighty, next up, representing acoustics, we have Stéphane Louvrier. Stéphane, did I butcher your name?
Yeah, all good.
I did butcher your name?
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Interesting get up.
Yeah?
Looking forward, 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
Okay. Acoustics invents multifunctional plastic-free materials to decarbonize healthcare for the people and the planet. No greenwashing here. All our claims are backed by science. All the products here are made of plastics, generating microplastics and 800 million tons of carbon emissions every year, equivalent to the aviation industry. What about green plastics? Well, they are either too expensive or weak for medical use. The $150 billion disposable healthcare market is switching. Regulations in Europe and Asia and global giants such as 3M, Kimberly-Clark are demanding sustainable materials. Our solution, Ocomer, a plant-based material made by reactive extrusion and electrospinning. All our medical-grade fabrics are 90% carbon saving and fully biodegrade in 6 months, SGS certified. When you use it, you just throw it away and it disappears from the nature. Ocomer is durable, scalable, and tunable, from PPE to diaper and diagnostic test. We have filed our first global patents, more to come. We are the Gore-Tex of disposable healthcare, starting with manufacturing, then moving to a licensing model within 3 years. We are not only competing against green plastics, we are replacing fossil plastics in key disposable applications. We project near cost parity within 3 years and cost parity within 5 years, thanks to our AI-driven R&D and deep material experience, 20 years of experience. Our technology won multiple awards and is recognized for inventing the world's first fully compostable medical mask and gown in the world. We had a previous successful exit in healthcare, and we are backed by world top scientists, including Professor Philippe Dubois, who is one of the pioneers in bioplastics. We have invested 2.5 million USD, generated 700,000 of sales, and have LOIs with 9 companies, including global manufacturers. We are looking for 2 million USD for scaling up and delivering on orders, fulfilling the vision inspired by a 5-year-old little girl who thought that a world without plastic is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. We now have 4 minutes with the judges. Ready?
Yep.
Starts now. Judges would like to go first. I think we got Anders from Temasek Foundation, please.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. Can you share more a bit about the underlying technology? Other people that share the stage mentioned they are the green premium. Now yours, you claim to be 5 times cheaper than plastic. Can you give a bit more?
Well, I mean, that's part of a trade secret, but this is a blend of different materials that we put together and that we analyze. So you have plants, you have derivative sugars all together to give the necessary properties that we want to achieve in specific products. Then in order to reduce the cost, maybe, what we do is actually we know what to change to reduce the cost of the overall solution. And we, for example, replace certain ingredients with cheaper ingredients in order to be more cost competitive. This is what we have done in the past, and we continue to do it now.
Thank you. Anders, you have a following question?
So can you state that the next 24 months you're going to apply your global patent. So what is actually the patent profile that you are trying to go for?
So can you repeat?
Your patents, the patents that you're going for. Is it the blend? Is it the AI? Or what is it that is unique to your company?
So at the moment, the whole formula is a trade secret. Since it is the key for the licensing model in the future, at the moment we have licensed the applications. And the fully compostable mask is actually the patent, and we are working on the patenting of the formula.
Judges, do we have another question? We have one from Danielle of Closed Loop Partners. Please.
Thanks. Just wondering, with a biodegradable plastic, why you chose to go into the medical industry first?
Well, I mean, that's an area where you do not have many, let's say, sustainable materials. It's a wide ocean. And at the same time, there are really strong requirements in terms of performance for the material. So we thought that you really have a combination with a big opportunity, and if you make a product that is at the right performance, then you really have a great opportunity to develop and to build some protection against competition.
A minute 30 left of the clock. Judges, do we have another question? We have one from Dr. Brenda of Breakthrough Energy, please.
Great presentation. Can you talk about what the inputs are to your system, and similarly, what are the waste products from your process?
So we are not producing any waste. So with the material, we actually make the biopolymers. The biopolymers are transformed into, let's say, either an end product like diagnostic test. We have already proof of concept with this. Or it can be transformed into nonwoven that are going to be used for gowns, wipes, and medical masks. And these masks, they can be incinerated at the end. They will not release bad carbon, or they can be composted, and then the compost can be reused into fertilizers or biofuels.
About 40 seconds left. Do we have a final quick question? Yes, we have Benny of Louis Dreyfus.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. A follow-up on the inputs. How are you securing your inputs, given that, according to your presentation, you're looking to manufacture by yourselves for the first 2-3 years?
You mean securing the production?
Yeah, because you're doing production yourself, right, for the first 2 or
No. So at the moment, we are using OEMs.
Okay.
So that's actually one part to reduce the cost of the material. So we're going to switch later to vertically integrate. We're going to buy a certain machine to produce ourselves. At the moment, it's only OEMs.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again, Stefan of Acoustics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, representing Plastic Eye, please welcome Sharon Rachel Manu. Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
Hello. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The 3 minute starts now.
We are Plastic Eye, Earthshot nominated innovators using satellite and AI evidence for blue carbon habitats. I'm Sharon Rachel Manu. I invite you to take a deep breath with me. Half of that oxygen comes from the ocean by virtue of being home to ecosystems such as seagrass and mangroves. They inhale carbon dioxide, exhale oxygen, and store carbon locked in their roots and sediments. This is called blue carbon, each ton of which can be traded as a blue carbon credit. There are 25 million tons of blue carbon in the oceans right now that we can tap into. But the problem is, number one, figuring out where are they located, and number two, how to ensure the quality of the carbon stored. Stakeholders struggle with answering these questions with confidence because the existing monitoring solutions, like putting people in the water or sensors, are geographically limited, infrequent, and expensive. Not solving this is a 3.4 billion Singaporean dollar problem. Plastic Eye fills this gap by leveraging multi-sensor satellite imagery analyzed using AI models to deliver insights that give information about the location and health of blue carbon ecosystems. Our current models already have a statistical F value of 0.85, which in layman terms means excellent detection capability. Our value proposition is that it's geographically unlimited, has 30 times greater monitoring frequency, and is 10 times cheaper than traditional methods. We differentiate ourselves through proprietary ground truth data that we curate in partnership with leading blue carbon projects and government organizations. We also go beyond and measure ecosystem and water risks, such as algal blooms, temperature, pollution, that directly inform the health of the carbon stored. Together, it sets us up to be early movers in serving the entire blue carbon value chain. We have a global market opportunity of 25 billion Singaporean dollars and are positioned to kind of capture 20 million in the next 3 years. Our business model is project-based consulting that will grow into credit-linked revenue as we grow. We have worked with multiple projects in blue carbon and otherwise. Our current revenue is 0 million Singaporean dollars, which is set to triple next year. Our team has credentials from Oxford, Cambridge, and CERN. We have backgrounds in marine science and AI, and over 40 years of Earth observation expertise, which underpins our defensibility. We believe we have a strong case to win in Asia because of the blue carbon habitats and Singapore's positioning. We invite you to join us in this blue carbon future. Thank you so much. Come talk to us at stand S01. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Great job. Okay, 4 minutes with the judges. Time starts now. We've got a question already from Ronnie of Sustainaveda.
Hi, nice
Hi
presentation, Sharon.
Thank you.
On the credit development, it's a long cycle from the project development all the way to issuing the credits.
Yes.
So given that you're raising capital next year, how much of the revenue are you going to split between consulting and the credits? And is there any way to speed up the process based on your technology?
I would have loved if you could do it very, very quickly. So our focus, of course, is setting the fundamentals strong. So a big part of that revenue is going to be to train our models quickly with location-specific data sets. We want to achieve greater accuracy. We're already at the 0.85, which is brilliant as per the competitive market. So our focus is going to be on that because we are sure that once we achieve that, there is a market for us to capture. So the focus is going to be on that. So I would say 60-40. Yep, that would be our focus. Thank you for your question.
Do you have another question for Sharon? We've got a question from Betty of Louis Dreyfus.
Sharon, thank you so much. Interesting presentation. How do you quantify ROI on each of these projects?
Sorry?
How do you quantify the ROI on each of these projects?
Quantify the ROI of each of these projects. So the pricing for our consulting projects basically depends on the problem statement, which means how much area do you want to kind of measure as a government or as a project developer? How frequently do you want to measure it? And what is the satellite resolution that you need to kind of go? Because the seagrass can be at 3 meters, 10 meters, so you need to choose the right kind of satellite. So we depend on open source data sets primarily, but after we kind of drill down on a particular region, we use commercial data. So that is the ROI that project developers kind of get, and for us, we kind of have the extra commission that we take. Yep, if that answers your question.
I think we got a question from Pekka of Rio Tinto.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I was going to ask you exactly about that, so I'm glad you answered, but just a follow-up to the data. How are you accessing the data, the particularly commercial data, and what's stopping anyone else from doing that?
For any AI company, the key is actually the data that you obviously put into these models. A big part of what we do or how we differentiate ourselves is the ground truth data that we train our models on. We have not gotten to exclusive partnerships yet, but these have been built over 3 years, working with project developers who are doing amazing blue carbon projects and government organizations. So the models have been trained on exceptional data, which kind of already sets us apart. The second thing is we use multi-sensor satellite imagery, which means we don't just depend on, say, optical data. We use SAR data. We are from the UK, which means there's cloud cover all the time. So we use a combination of multi-sensor data that helps us kind of really set us, go forward from other competitors, at least for the next few years. So we're already ahead in the game. That's how we differentiate ourselves.
About 45 seconds left on the clock. Do we have a final question for Sharon? We've got one from Dr. Brenda, Breakthrough Energy, please.
Great presentation. Obviously, as you're evaluating the seagrass, you're seeing many other things. Are there other changes in the ecosystem that you can detect and potentially monetize?
I'm going to take an example of seagrass itself. We are actually working with a team in Florida, which actually has a lot of seagrass. It's called seagrass scarring, which is anchors from ships that actually go and hit these seagrass meadows. We are working to kind of, I wouldn't say accountability, but with these organizations to help build policy around how this can be avoided or how it can be paid for when these issues happen. So we are working on use cases like that as well with what we do.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again, Sharon.
Thank you so much
for joining us. Thank you. Once again, Sharon of Plastic Eye. By the way, if you're taking lots of pictures, please share them on Instagram and hashtag SLINGSHOT2025. And of course, you can keep updated with us at Switch Singapore as well. Next up, representing Remedium Energy, please welcome Dr. Omid Shaghafa. Hello, Dr. Omid.
Hello. Hi.
Are you ready?
Thank you.
Okay, 3 minutes starts now.
Hi. My name is Omid. I'm co-founder and CEO of Remedium, where we're making carbon capture commercially viable. But today, I want to tell you a story. So come back with me to January of 2020. I was in my third year of PhD when I met Moji, a visiting scholar from Canada. And I was given a task to show him around Cambridge. We ended up at a cafe in front of King's College, talking about our research. Moji's PhD was on developing a new material for carbon capture. I was always skeptical of carbon capture, so I asked, Moji, why do we need carbon capture when we have renewable energy? Moji explained that 20% of all CO2 emission comes from industries with inherent CO2 emission. These emissions cannot be eliminated with renewables. He continued that carbon capture is currently too expensive, $100 per ton, and 60% of that is associated with two things, material and energy. Then he showed me his material, lime loop, that can capture 36 times more CO2 over its lifetime and cuts the material cost by more than 80%. But still didn't know how to reduce the energy cost. I told him, Moji, I might have a solution for you. I explained that my PhD is on heat batteries, which store cheap electricity as heat and later on convert it back into electricity. Moji looked confused. How does that help me? My answer, 4 words, carbon capture heat battery. I explained that when you expose lime loop to exhaust gases, it captures CO2 and releases heat, which we convert into electricity. Later on, we use cheap electricity to regenerate lime loop, so it can capture CO2 again. Since the electricity we buy is cheaper than the electricity we sell, using electricity arbitrage, we're not just reducing the energy costs, we are making money from it. This idea excited both of us and led to founding Remedium. Since then, we have shown that our cost of capture is only $13 per ton. We have tested Lime Loop for 100 cycles, built a demo, filed 2 patents, participated in several accelerator programs, won international awards, and received a letter of intent. We have also put together a world-class team. We have degrees from Cambridge, Oxford, MIT, INSEAD, with more than 100 years of accumulated experience in relevant research, industry, and startups. And we are raising 1.5 million to do 3 things. Manufacture Lime Loop at ton scale, do a live flue gas test of Lime Loop reaching TRL 8, and demonstrate the battery at kilowatt hour. By the way, here's a photo of me and Moji on that day. Moral of the story, never skip coffee. Ours reduced the cost of carbon capture by more than 80%. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Omid. We now have 4 minutes with the judges. Time is ticking. Judges, I think we have a question from Anne of NG Factory, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Very nice presentation, and I really love the story along the way. Just a question, because it seems the technology seems to be well proven, but how easy will it be to integrate it into cement plant and industry where the process is pretty lean already?
Sure. So we have shown that we can capture CO2 at the concentration that are relevant to the cement industries. And if you look at those high temperature, those high CO2 emission industries, we're talking about cement, steel, oil and gas, petrochemical, they require high temperature process heat. So the integration is that we capture the CO2 and we use the heat battery within the process heat requirement, reducing their fuel consumption, and that's how we reduce the cost of capture quite significantly.
Got a question now from Dr. Michael of Antares Ventures, please.
Yeah. Hi, Omid. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to understand to what extent you validated that $13.
Sure.
Because the TRL is still early. So,
of course.
On what is that based?
So what we have done, we have actually taken the electricity price across Europe for every country for 2024 and natural gas prices. And based on a lab scale result that we have in basically what we have tested is a 1-inch diameter reactor based on the amount of CO2 that we capture, which specifies the amount of heat we can basically store in the process. We have calculated the cost of capture across Europe. $13 is the average price of all those countries across Europe. And as you can see, in some of these countries, the cost of capture actually goes negative, which means that it is profitable to utilize our system without any governmental incentive. But basically, the validation is based on the experimental result we have done in a fixed bed reactor.
About 2 minutes left on the clock. Jack of BHP Ventures, please.
Thank you. It's the exact other side of that question from an economics perspective.
Sure.
The arbitrage is obviously reliant on certain conditions on electricity market across different locations and jurisdictions. What's your plan, and how does this business work in different places where electricity costs, of course, varies?
So as you can see in this map, you can see that there are certain countries which we will have a significantly better business than the other countries. And we have identified basically the cement, steel, petrochemical, and oil gas field that can utilize our technology in these certain countries, because then, so that's basically our go-to-market strategy, going to those countries and those specific plants that will be utilizing our technology without any governmental incentive. And these results is based on 2024 actual spot electricity prices. So we have taken basically the actual data from the, which was available to us to identify these locations, basically.
Got 50 seconds left. Daniel of Closed Loop Partners.
Thanks so much. I'm not technical by background, so I appreciated the storytelling. I'm wondering if you could also help me understand your net energy and net material usage throughout the entire process.
Sure. So over its lifetime, each ton of our material can capture 180 ton of CO2. That's over 1,100 cycles. So that roughly gives you how much material we would require for, let's say, 1 megaton of cement plant over a year. We're talking about 20 ton per year. And in terms of the net use, we have basically the efficiency of 91%. That means that out of 100% electricity we put into the system, we get 91% of it back as heat, high temperature heat into the process. And for each ton of CO2, we roughly have 1.3 megawatt hour of heat. So it's about 130 kilowatt hour per ton of CO2. Thank you.
Sorry to rush you there, but that's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again, Dr. Omid of Remedium Energy. Next up, representing Spotless Materials, please welcome on stage Professor Tak-Sing Wong. Hi, Prof. Wong.
Hi.
Hello. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you can do it. Your time starts now.
Excellent. Hi, my name is Tak-Sing Wong. I'm a co-founder and CTO of Spotless Materials. Repellent materials or anti-stick coatings can be found in everyday life, with examples such as self-cleaning camera lens to anti-biofouling medical device. Many of these materials play a critical and life-saving function. However, there's one problem. Many of these materials are made of PFAS, or perfluoroalkyl substance, which are harmful to our human body as well as to the environment. As a result, many countries, including the European Union, start to ban these materials in many different applications. The world needs a PFAS-free repellent materials, and we have a solution. Introducing LESS, Liquid and Change Smooth Surface. LESS was originally developed in my lab at Penn State, and this is currently protected by 21 issued and pending US and international patents. LESS consists of a molecular hair infused with a liquid lubricant. The end result is a super slippery surface that nothing can stick to it. Compared to uncoated surface, LESS can repel 90% more sludge-like material, 96% more mineral deposit, as well as 99% more bacteria and protein. LESS can be applied onto different materials, including glass, ceramic, metal, and plastic, and can be cured at room temperatures within minutes. We have launched our consumer products in the bathroom space, which was featured by the New York Times Wirecutter last year. We have sold over $2 million of these products already, with $1.4 million of revenue coming from the past 12 months alone. In addition to the consumer products, we are also collaborating with global industrial and medical partners, with one example of medical device that has just received a CE marking and is entering clinical trial next year. So to support our vision of PFAS-free future, we built a strong team. Myself and my co-founder, Dr. Birgit Bosic, we lead the Spotless Materials. So Dr. Birgit Bosic is recognized by the Forbes 30 Under 30, and she is also a Y Combinator founder. Myself and my technology has been recognized by the MIT Technology Review Innovators Under 35, as well as the US Presidential Award in Science and Engineering, or PCASE. Our supporting team have extensive technical, business, and operation experience. We also work with a network of contractors in financial services, IP, and corporate laws, marketing, and more. We are currently raising $1 million, and we have closed $400,000 already. Now this is the best time to join us to create a safer, a better, a more sustainable world, but all without PFAS. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Prof. Wong. Okay, Q&A session with the judges. We're going to reset the clock. Just give us a second to reset the clock. Maybe drop that. Okay, clock is reset. Judges, who would like to go first? Got a question from Jinwoo of SK Energy.
Thank you very much for your great presentation, Dr.
Thank you.
Wong. I see that compared to your current revenue, your target revenue is quite high.
Mhm.
I'm wondering when is the target year and your plans to achieve this goal?
That's right, yeah. So right now we have been using quite small amount of marketing resources to sell our current product, and we have already achieved 1.4 million in the past 12 months. So we are going to double down with our marketing resources. Hopefully we can double or triple per year in the next 3 years. That is how we calculate the kind of projection.
I do believe we have a question now from Cecilia of Hello Tomorrow.
Can you walk us through the production cycle of the material and who you're working with to do so?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Can you walk us through the production cycle of the material and with whom you're working to build it?
Absolutely, yeah. So our coating is a liquid formulation. So we have a couple active ingredients that we mix together through a mixing tank. So it's a very simple liquid solution that you can apply it using different scalable methods: spray coating, slot die coating, dip coating. And for example, the medical device example, so we can apply it through a slot die coating on a roll-to-roll plastic process. We have already demonstrated we can produce over hundreds of meters of coated slippery plastics through this process.
Good question now. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Got a question now from Daniel of Closed Loop Partners.
Hi. Also on the performance characteristics, can you talk about how long-lasting the coating is, and also what, if there are any limitations on what types of materials it can be applied to?
Right. So I'll answer the second question first. So our coating can be applied to a broad range of substrate: plastic, ceramic, metals, and glass. So there's really no limitation on the type of substrate it can be applied. Some substrate you can apply through a one-step process, but some substrate we have to apply primer depending on the type of substrates. And regarding on the how long it can use, so our coating can be used for can be tailored and engineered to be used for days, weeks to months, really depending on the application timeline, and we can engineer the coatings to meet that specific product application cycle.
Got a minute and a half left. Good question from Anne of NG Factory.
Hi, I would be interested to know how the cost of your product compares with other PFAS coating.
Yeah, so our coating do not use PFAS, and the performance-wise is actually better, similar or better than the current PFAS material, particularly in terms of the anti-biofouling. So we have shown that compared to a PFAS material, we can resist protein and bacterial adhesion up to 70% better than these materials. In terms of the production, again, we do not use any of the harmful PFAS type chemical to produce our coatings. So, so this is a really comparison between performance and also manufacturing of the PFAS coatings.
But what about the cost itself?
So the cost is actually much lower. So we are using a chemistry that is actually much cheaper than the current PFAS coating.
We've got about 40 seconds left. A question from Kamesh of Olam Food Ingredients. Really quick one.
Yeah, so simply, are you only benchmarking at PFAS? Are you kind of thinking about what is the broadest application of your product?
Can you repeat that question again?
Are you only referencing PFAS is the only thing you're going to compete against? Are you thinking more broadly about the coding space and where all your technology could work?
That's a good question. Indeed, a lot of the customer come to us because they already have existing PFAS coating on their products, and they have really a hard time to find a similar or better coating to replace that. That's why we are using PFAS as a benchmark, because if we can solve this problem, we are going to open up a lot of this possibility in different verticals. So that's why PFAS is our current benchmark.
That's all the time we have, unfortunately. Judges, thank you for that. Once again, Prof. Wong of Spotless Materials.
Thank you.
And we're on to our next startup representing Tersa. We've got Barinda Rasuda. Hello, Barinda.
Hi. How are you? We don't always have great success, so we're going to try it today.
Okay, you can do it. I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to behave. Are you ready?
I am ready.
3 minutes starts now.
Hi, I'm Barinder. I'm not a PhD, or I don't have a long list of accolades of being a CEO, but I am an activist that knows that it has to be about water and critical minerals. And the consequence of our process is we're transforming mining and turning waste into revenue, but in turning environmental liabilities into economic assets. When we know better, we do better. Knowing better and doing better, the partners along our path, BHP, Water Challenge, Think and Act Differently. Their team worked rigorously with us to make sure that our unit was cost effective. Newmont, IRAP, Government of Canada has now given us a grant to take our prototype onto the Newmont mine site, not only to move towards optimizing our first unit, but also to our commercialization phase. Repsol, we have a patent for the pre-treatment of lithium, and Repsol, we showed that our process is able to clean the brine so you can extract more lithium. Modus, our partner engineering, one of our top investors. World Economic Forum Access, UBC, where the research started in 2016, and then our 2 First Nations partners, where they want to be sure that we are protecting the land so that moose and salmon can run for 7 more generations. It is not only about the environmental costs, it is also about national security and vulnerability now. We have a process, it's a big problem. $3.4 trillion worth of value trapped in metals, 75 trillion liters of acid rock drainage projected by 2040. 50% of the lithium is still left in the waste. Stricter ESG mandates, while we're asking more from industry, we're actually making it harder to give us what we need. Our solution is modular, scalable, self-powered microbial fuel cell. We're using Mother Nature's own process, and we're doing dual value, remediation and extraction. As you can see, you pump the water in, and what comes out is a fertilizer. The market is massive, 9,000 tailings ponds globally, and what we are able to do is to have a cost-effective, cheaper method for industry. This is our competitor slide because it shouldn't be about competition. We need to collaborate. We need to collaborate with other industry solutions to scale on top of, co-develop, so we can work together on this massive problem. We've got the right team, we're proven scalable across 3 continents, and we've got a brilliant long-term 100 years of solutions for people who care about what we do. We have 12 patents pending and 2 filed. We are ready to go to market, and I ran out of time. 101 presentation.
But we have time with the judges, so 4 minutes Q&A. Time starts now. We've got a question from Jack of BHP Ventures.
Thanks, Brenda.
Hi, Jack.
I promise to keep it in context of the presentation. Look, it's a mea culpa as well. Big mining companies, big resource companies are notoriously difficult and slow to work with. You're a startup who wants a steep curve. How do you counter that challenge? How do you look at market segmentation on working with large incumbents, something in the middle, and juniors as you go forward?
Yeah, so excellent point. So I want to thank all of the mining companies that have innovation as a part of their framework, because we're generating revenue already from pre-pilot work. We're collecting data, as we're building our AI process. So what we're doing is pre-pilot work with the majors. As we're transitioning to get to commercialization, we want 3 clients. We want the case studies to speak for themselves. We are not out to obtain more clients currently. What we want to do is show that our current model is not only environmentally friendly, cheaper than what you're using now, but big carbon abatement because we're eliminating the use of lime.
Any questions from the judges? We've got one from Pekka of Rio Tinto, please.
I feel compelled to ask, but Brenda, help us to understand better what still needs to be de-risked in your technology for this to all happen.
So, one of the things that's important to us is we have built the unit as large as it's ever going to get. Our team, the women on the team said, why is bigger always better? Why don't we just have what we have now and stack it in series? So the risk is going to be, I'm showing you the results of what we've gotten to date, the risk is going to be getting that modular unit out into the field and making sure that it works the same way as it's working, but it will because we have a controlled environment in that unit. So the risk is really how many units do we need per mining site versus is this scalable or not?
Do we have more questions for Brenda? We've got one from Kamesh of Olam Food Ingredients. Olam, please.
So is this a technology that can be used beyond mining? Is there any place there's heavy metal, you can pull it out? And second, the residue that you collect, that is this toxic sludge or whatever, how do you dispose that?
So what's very interesting is startups were told to be very focused, and because the original research dollars and the first money in came from the Bradshaw Institute of Mining, we are very focused on mining. Now that we know we're getting our units out into the field, this is a platform technology. We clean water very well. The water market was saturated, and because of the demand for critical minerals, we focused on the dual extraction and remediation. So now the R&D team will be looking at other uses of the microbial fuel cell and the MICP. To be candid, the MICP works extremely well, and so we are looking at other things within the platform.
We've got a question now from Dr. Brenda of Breakthrough Energy.
Hi, really interesting presentation. You mentioned that you feel confident about this because it's a controlled environment. So can you talk about what kind of pre-treatment you need to do before it goes into your system?
So we treat water. So if there is any sludge or debris, that needs to be excluded. But outside of that, any acid rock drainage can go through our system, and it can get processed first through the MFC to extract the metals, then through the MICP, and the byproduct is a carbonate that can be used as a fertilizer or sustainable building material. That's been validated by the DOE. Administration changed, we didn't get the grants, but we've got the papers.
Unfortunately, we don't have any more time. I'm sorry to do this. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again, Marina
Thank you.
of Tersa. Thank you. Time flies. Pew, pew, pew. All the questions are coming in. All right, up next, please welcome Up Catalyst. Representing Up Catalyst, we've got Riot Masikas. Did I say your name right, Masikas?
Correct.
Correct. Oh,
Thank you so much.
Okay, 3 minutes. You got this. Your time starts
Thanks so much.
now.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Riot Masikas. I'm CEO of Up Catalyst. Access to critical raw materials isn't just a matter of supply chain anymore. It has become a tool for geopolitics as well as a matter of national security. Just a few weeks ago, China announced export restrictions for battery-grade graphite and related technologies. That's a huge wake-up call for the entire battery industry. Graphite is one of the key components of a battery by weight. And 95% of the graphite supply come from China. That's a huge supply risk. Another problem, the way the graphite is being produced these days is very CO2 heavy. So the world needs alternative, and fast. At Up Catalyst, we have developed a breakthrough technology that turns CO2 emissions into battery-grade graphite and nanotubes using molten salt electrolysis. Graphite powers the battery, nanotubes makes it charge fast. This stone in my hand was made of the invisible CO2. It's a physical proof that we can turn these emissions into useful resources. Our technology is unique in 3 ways. First, it's energy efficient, primarily because of the operating temperature. And energy efficiency means also cost efficiency. Second, it's also green by default. Our feedstock is CO2. This also means that at large scale we're able to produce a carbon negative footprint material. And third, it's scalable anywhere where CO2 and electricity. This is how it works. We consume 3.7 tons of CO2 to produce 1 ton of carbon. Our feedstock comes from industrial captured CO2 and green electricity. And this way we enable sustainable carbon to be used in EVs, plastics, paints and coatings, and many more. The market is massive. According to Benchmark Minerals, by year 2040, there will be 8 million ton gap for graphite. That also means this is a huge business opportunity. Our long-term business model is based on technology licensing to enable CO2-based carbon anywhere in the world where it's necessary. To make this all happen, we have put together one of the strongest CO2 to carbon teams in the world with 40 professionals, including 12 PhDs. We're also operational. We have a pilot production facility operating in Estonia and Europe, and we're also in discussions with large battery manufacturers. We have been, all right, thank you so much. And
I have to interrupt you. That's all the time we have.
Thanks so much.
3 minutes is up, but we have 4 minutes with the judges. Time starts
Thank you.
now. Judges, do we have a question for Right? I think we have a question from Jeffrey of Enterprise Singapore, please.
Thank you, Roy, for the presentation. Quick question on scalability. You mentioned you have a pilot line already operational in Europe. Can you share with us what are your plans to scale production? What do you need to have that in place, and what are possible derailers that you can face?
Yeah, thank you. Very good question. So we have two products. One is carbon nanotubes. This is a product where it's a specialty additive, and there we need smaller scale, but there is very good margins. So for that way, we can already use the technology we have and start to produce. For graphite, this is we really need to have scale, and in order to get scale, we have to build next sort of size of the reactor or technology, and with that to basically de-risk this technology, and then later on we're planning to build our first production facilities by multiplying these large reactors. So kind of take out tech risk first, and then basically scale it into the big production facility.
Good question now from Dr. Brenda of Breakthrough Energy.
Hi, great presentation. Two questions. First, can you talk about the quality of your graphite? What testing you've done? Is it battery grade? And then, well, let's start there.
Yeah, it's of course a very important question. We have now actually qualified our graphite as a battery grade graphite. I think that's a huge milestone we have achieved.
And how does it compare on price? And I'm specifically thinking about, there's a lot of people making battery grade graphite from methane.
Yeah, so it's, I talked about the energy efficiency, so we use so much less energy. That's a physical advantage, and we're actually also able to match the sort of the price and compete with the market price. It's a commodity market, you have to work there, and we can do work there that we have calculated.
Got a question now from Danielle of Closed Loop Partners, please.
Thanks. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your customers and what type of customer you think you're going to license to.
Yeah, so our business strategy is based. We have two products, and our scaling strategy is twofold. So first, we're very focused on the nanotubes because it's the required scale is smaller and the unit economics is so much better. So and there we basically the target customers are battery manufacturers because nanotubes are used as a conductive additive, basically to make the battery charge fast. But there are also other applications like electrostatic flooring, which is very interesting in these days where, for example, these are used in all data centers and hospitals. There's also paints and coatings. For example, one nice use case is marine paints because CNTs are very sort of hydrophobic, and then instead of using the poisonous paints, we can actually produce this in a more sustainable and environmentally friendly way. And when it comes to graphite, it's the main market is batteries.
We've got a minute left. Only time for a quick question. Judges, do we have one final question? We have one from Ronnie of Sustainavator.
Great presentation. How are you funded currently? You have a team of 40. Curious to know how are you funded and what does your cap table look like?
Yeah, thanks. We are currently funded by European Investment Bank, and we also announced as a strategic project in Europe, a European Commission to deliver the locally produced raw materials. And so that's one of the fundings. We also generating a little bit revenue already, and we also still have some grants running.
I think that's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again to Right of Up Catalyst.
Thank you.
And now we have our final startup for environment, energy, and green technologies domain. Once again, welcome to Slingshot 2025. It's Asia's most exciting deep tech startup competition. Please welcome on stage Ziad Mata for Baridi Technologies. Ziad.
Hello.
Hello. You seem focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
3 minutes, your time starts now.
Hello everyone. Baridi Technologies is an award-winning Brazilian-Dutch company revolutionizing the diagnosis of soil biodiversity and plant diseases by using the latest developments in AI and automated microscopy. And the problem that we target is really soil degradation, because the food that we eat every day comes from soil, and yet 75% of our soils are heavily degraded. Farmers and large conglomerates invest increasingly to regenerate soils, but the technology currently on the market is far from being accurate or mature enough to help them guide these efforts and investments. For that reason, we have built a team to solve this problem. My background is in industrial engineering with experience in Danone and Nestlé, Richard, our CTO, has 2 postdocs in microbiology and microscopy from Delft University. We're also assisted by Dr. Joachim Schneider, the ex-CEO of Bayer Vegetable Seeds, and Ivan Gijsbers, a serial agro-food entrepreneur from the Netherlands. At Veridi, we chose to focus on microscopic worms called nematodes because they are the best indicator for soil biodiversity. I'm happy to announce that just last week, the European Union voted the soil monitoring law, which will make soil biodiversity monitoring mandatory across the EU, and nematodes are a key indicator because they are backed by 30 years of research and more than 600 independent peer-reviewed papers. The European Innovation Council has identified Veridi as a key enabler of the law, giving us 6 million euros to make it a reality. And nematodes are fascinating creatures, giving us incredible insights about the soil, including soil biodiversity, soil disease resilience, as well as carbon cycling. But they are also very important plant pathogens, destroying $160 billion in crops every single year. They are very relevant in Southeast Asia for rice, soybean, and sugarcane, and increasingly so due to heat stress. The way our technology works is that instead of having someone with a PhD counting hundreds of microscopic worms, now anyone can do it. The sample is taken, it's placed in our microscope, which scans it. The AI tells you what's inside it and plugs it into existing agronomic models, which give the farmers practical solutions for their most pressing soil problems. The advantage is that it's highly accurate and scalable at half the cost, which makes us very unique. And our business model is we place a hardware for free and customers pay per sample. We already are working with the largest agri-tech companies in the world, like Bayer and Syngenta, and scaling in India, the European Union, and Brazil, and also work with diverse governments, such as the Australian government, or also the South African one. Today, I'm here because I want to finance Veridi in Singapore, to use it as a platform to scale throughout Southeast Asia, and together, I would like to make agriculture more sustainable, more profitable, and make the food that we eat healthier. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ziad. We have 4 minutes now with the judges. We're going to reset the clock. Time is reset, and we've got a question from Claire of the Yield Lab. Claire.
Thank you very much. The science is really clever because you're letting the worms in the soil tell you what the health of the soil is. So it's very, very clever. Please allow me a few questions. What's the accuracy level that you're finding of the solution and being able to identify of the nematodes? And how large is your data set of nematodes?
Thank you. So just last week, we also got the results from our trials with Wageningen University, the most famous agricultural university in the world. Compared to a human, which is 85%, we got 95% accuracy. Our database is of 500,000 microscopic images, and it's going to be growing exponentially in the coming years as we deploy our technologies worldwide.
Another question, please. You listed out in your presentation kind of a who's who list of the corporates. So how do you make your solutions sticky with these corporates for them to rapidly adopt?
So the way we do it is that we sign multi-year contracts, and often because we are the only technology on the market, we can also make them sign exclusivity with us, which is the case for some of those corporates. Yeah.
And then what can I do? Just one more. We're in Asia. And so on your slides, you talk about Europe, you talk about Brazil and some other things. In North America, there's a handful of crops that are the primary focus. Here in Asia Pacific, there's over 30. So what key crops in Asia are you looking at to address, and what are your future plans here?
Yeah, so we're interested in sugarcane, we're interested in coffee, and also in soybean. But we also see really big applications for rice, because due to heat stress, farmers are using less water on the rice crop, which means that they will have more and more nematode problems, and that really opens up the whole market for us.
Got a question now from Dr. Michael of Entaris Ventures, please.
Yeah, so building on Claire's question, I mean, first of all, excited to hear that you want to come to this region. How are you thinking about go-to-market? Who are the kind of strategic and industrial partners you're looking for in this part of the world?
Yeah, so if I understand right, you're asking us how we're taking technology to the market. We have partners here in Southeast Asia. Yeah. So we work already with Syngenta and Bayer, which are also present here, and they really see the benefits of scaling with us globally. So that's how we're doing it, but also we're looking at local partners as well.
We've got about minute 30 left. Dr. Brenda from Breakthrough Energy.
Great presentation. My question is, how sensitive is your analysis to depth? And so how specific do you need to know the depth of the sample that you're analyzing?
Yeah, so these protocols are standardized after 30 years of research, and everyone pretty much samples at the same depth, which is around 20 to 30 centimeters in the soil.
But how sensitive is that? Like if somebody takes a sample that's outside of that, is that going to screw up your data?
Yes, it affects it, but we compensate to that by doing training, and the technology and know-how actually for doing that is already present. Most countries already sample for nematodes. So our technology fits perfectly in existing processes. Yeah.
Got about a minute left. Kamesh from Olam Food Ingredients.
Yeah, so clearly quite exciting, fantastic database. The dashboard you were showing, what does this mean to a farmer or somebody else, right? I mean, what remediation, what next steps? Is that something you provide or you leave it at this?
Yes, so we work also with the solution providers. For example, if you have plant parasitic nematodes, you can put resistant breeds, right? Or you can also make crop rotations, and you can also use biopesticides. It's a very exciting field because the chemical nematicides have been mostly banned, and in Brazil we see that 75% of the market is based on biologicals. So it's one of the best examples for making agriculture more sustainable through biological pesticides.
Fortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you, judges. Thank you once again to Ziad of
Thank you very much.
Technologies. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there you have it, all our startups. Can we give them a big round of applause? Environment, energy, and green technologies domain. Don't forget to tag us so we can see your pictures if you took any of it at Switch Singapore and hashtag Slingshot 2025. A big round of applause for our judges as well. Thank you for being here. 15 pitches on. Come on. 15 pitches later, an hour 45. We'd like to invite all the judges now to head to the deliberation room. You have lots to decide. You have to push the top 3 to the grand finals. Good luck. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We have one more domain finals coming up really soon. We're going to reset the stage later on, so we'll be back in a few. Thank you.